Hi everyone, so welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial, we are going to see what are the different type of databases exist in the software engineering. And before we get started with the types of databases, first we need to understand what is database. So a database is a structured collection of data, so which is actually get organized and stored in a way that allows efficient retrieval, updating and management of the data. So you can consider it's like a central repository for storing any kind of a data, and by any accessing mechanism you can manage that information and you can use it for any of the software application. So now let's get into what are the different types of databases do we have. So first let's start with the RDBMS database. So these databases store data in tables with predefined schema and use structured query language, that is SQL, for data manipulation. So when we get into the use cases, so the use cases are like structured data or having a complex queries and does support the ACID properties. And the examples are MySQL, PostgreSQL, and Oracle. Now coming to the second database, NoSQL databases. So here, these databases do not support or do not use the traditional relational model and offer more flexible data structures. So these type of databases making them suitable for handling unstructured or semi-structured data. So again, the use cases that I talked about is the unstructured and semi-structured data. The second is the high scalability and then the flexible schemas. Now the examples comes are the MongoDB, Cassandra, Couchbase. So these are the examples. Now going to the third database, which is a columnar database. So if we come to the columnar database, these databases store data in columns rather than rows. So which is opposite to the relational RDBMS databases, which actually store the data in the rows format. And these type of database can offer a better performance for certain analytical workloads. And if you talk about the use cases, so again, one is analytical workload and second is handling a large volume of a data. So here also example comes as Apache HBase, Apache Cassandra, and Vertica. Now going to the next database, which is the in-memory database. So in-memory database does store the data in memory. So as it supported, it does not store it onto the disk, and they are also support a very high performance, and that's why the use cases revolves around the high performance application, real-time analytics, and caching is also one of the most popular use case of the in-memory database. If you talk about the example, so the examples are Redis, Memcached. Now moving on with the graph databases. So if we talk about the graph databases, these databases are designed to store and process graph data where entities are represented as nodes and relationship between entities are represented at edges between those nodes. So now if we talk about the use cases out here, so these are like relationship focused data and they also support in complex network analysis. Here again, the examples are like Neo4j, Amazon Neptune, and ArangoDB. Next, move on with the time series data. So these databases are very popular in terms of storing the time series data. So where your indexing will happen on the time based. So these are very popular for any kind of a application where the data is coming directly from the devices. So let's just take an example of IoT where data is coming from sensor and you are storing that data on a time series manner. So again, use case is like storing and analyzing the time series data, example, sensor data, logs, and I talked about the IoT also. And then example are InfluxDB, Prometheus, Timescale DB. The last one is the document database. So these databases store and manage data in JSON or BSON format. So these type of database allows us for doing the storage of complex and hierarchical data structure. So now if we talk about the use cases, again, this will support the semi-structured or unstructured data, and these also support a very flexible schema. Here comes as an example is a MongoDB, CouchDB, and Elasticsearch, which is very good for the search engine. So that's all for this video. Please comment below if you would like to know any more about any of the database. I would like to share more. Okay, with that, thank you all. See you in next video.